First, what we need to do is we'll need to make 2 of these. So these are little arms. So we're making a turtle. It's and I will have this pattern for sale as well, all printed out with the pictures later on. So it's going to be on my Shopify T Creative Sphere. So if you would like to buy this pattern as well, you're welcome. So basically what we're doing is today we're creating the pattern. So I made this little hand. As I said in my previous vlog, my son has asked his friend to get a turtle. So we're going to make another one of these. So if you want to follow me along. Okay, so I have a yarn, which is King Cole Yummy. It is polyester shade 3479 Icicle, lot 208. It says to use 6mm knitting needles, but I'm crocheting obviously. But I don't know if you like, I'm not sure who is watching this, but if you have experience in crocheting amigurumi toys, you will know that you need to at least go one size down, sometimes more, depending on the pattern. For this, I did try it with just one size down of crochet hook. So and it turned out quite nice and tight. So I'm going to stick with this for this yarn. I have another yarn for the actual body. So this is going to be the yarn for the head, for arms, legs, and a little tail. And the body is going to be from a different yarn. And that yarn, I'm not entirely sure where I got it. So, but it's very similar thickness to this. So I'm going to try 5. And if it's it's not thick enough or not tight enough, I'm going to switch to maybe 4.5 or 4. So basically, we're going to make this arm now. Okay. So first what you want to do is make the magic ring. So what I do is I take the thread, I put it over my 2 fingers, I hold it with the thumb, I rotate it until it's a crisscross, and I just hold that cross in the middle. Then I insert it onto the top loop, I grab this, and I pull it through, all while holding, and I twist my hook. Okay, and then I take it off my fingers, and I just make a loop. You can rewatch this bit if you need to on how I make it, or if you have your own method, that's fine. So the first step is going to be 6 single stitches into the loop. So depending on the yarn, at this step, I either go over the hook or under the hook. Sometimes the yarns just don't work very well for this step under the hook, so I might do over, but just for this. For amigurumi toys, you do want to have under the hook, you know. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have 5 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what's happened. So I'm going to do 6 stitches. So this is 5. Oops. This is 5. And 6. Okay, so I have 6 here. This yarn is okay to make magic rings. Sometimes with the plush yarn like this, it's very difficult to actually close the ring. So in those instances, you can either do the 2 chains and then crochet into the first chain, or you can use something different, some other yarn that's not, you know, this velvety yarn, and you can make the magic loop with that and then put the 6 stitches from this yarn. It's not visible on this yarn, so you could do that. If you want for me to show you how to do that, give me a shout in the comments. Okay, so we're closing the loop just with a single stitch here. Okay, so I'm placing the marker on this so I know where my start is. Okay, in the next round, we're going to do increase in every stitch. So 2 stitches in every stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I wonder if I can zoom in a little bit into my hands. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you should have 12 stitches when you count all around, okay? So we're gonna close this loop. So you can see the circle forming. Okay, we're gonna take out the stitch marker and put it in this loop. Okay, the next round we're going to do 1 stitch and 1 increase and follow that pattern. So we have 1 stitch and increase. So it's 3, 1 stitch and increase. 6, 1 stitch and increase. 9, 1 stitch and increase. 12, 1 stitch and increase. That's 15 and 1 stitch and increase. Okay, so you should have 18 stitches here. I'm not going too fast so that you guys can follow, but please feel free to pause and rewind as needed. Okay, we're putting the marker back. So in the next row, we're going to do 2 stitches and increase and follow that pattern. So we're going to do 1, 2, and increase. I'm going to do 1, 2, and increase. So follow that pattern, and at the end of it, you should have 24 stitches. Okay, so I went all the way around and I made this. So the next circle or round, we're going to do 3 stitches. So single stitches and then increase. 1, 2, 3, and increase. Again, 1, 2, 3, and increase. Okay, so if you keep going like this, you should end up with 30, right? We had 24 before, so 30 stitches all around. Okay, in here, what we are going to do is, instead of finishing by single stitch, we're going to do the slip stitch. So all it does is we don't grab the thread here. You're going to just slip stitch here, okay? Did you see that? So basically you would have 2 loops on your work when you finish the round, and you just pull that loop through. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the marker, and what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to throw this thread kind of to the back, and I'm going to fold. I'll put this thread inside. It doesn't need to be cut because it's going to be crocheted in. So I'm going to throw this thread to the back and then fold this in half. And basically what I want to do is single stitch all across. So I need to crochet both sides together. You see here, so you have this, you just literally crochet single stitch both sides. Both sides. Sorry, I know it's a bit dark. This is Ireland after all. Let me see if I can increase the light a bit here. Okay, so again, through both sides, grab the thread, pull through, and single stitch. Okay, and you would have 30 stitches all around, so you will need at least 15 to crochet through both sides. Okay, I usually do one last one kind of towards the end like this, and then I pull through slip stitch, grab this thread and pull it through until I have enough like for sewing or crocheting in. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, so I'm just gonna cut this. And yeah, there's my second arm. So we have now 2 arms. Now for this one, I need to, I think, to match this, I'll need to bring this thread through to the back here. So I'm gonna grab a needle and do that now. I'll show you how I do that. Okay. So I'm just going to show you how to move the thread from here to here. And you'll need that if you're stitching this directly into the pattern. However, if you are just crocheting it in, you might not need this. So we'll see where we'll end up. So for now, we'll just, what I do usually when I need to put it in the needle, I fold it in half. I just find it's easier. I kind of squish it. And then it's a little bit easier. So what I do is I go from the side and I kind of zigzag through there. Now, because this is a velvet yarn, I find most of them actually will lose some. See, like it will lose some of this. So you kind of need to clean up as you go along. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of passing it through a couple of stitches. And then I am doing just one stitch over, and then underneath all of this, just passing it again. Oops. See, you need to be careful not to have this. It needs to go in the middle, not so that you don't see the stitches here. So basically on the inside of this. Okay. Okay, let's do this again. As you can see, I'm losing a lot of fluff. So you can see that the thread, you can't really see it on any side. Okay. And then I just need to be careful here. So basically now this side doesn't have any yarn. See how much fluff I lost. Anyways, this side doesn't have any yarn. And now the reason I do this is because they have to point kind of the right. If you can imagine the turtle, the turtle is going to be in the middle, and these are going to be your flippers. So you need to be able to sew them on in the same kind of direction where this side, you know, your magic ring is on the inside. Or if you want to do it this way, either or, you know, but it points the same way from both sides. So that's why I do it. I pass the thread through. Okay, so that's our arms ready. So the next part that we're gonna do are the legs, which is gonna be exactly the same way, except in the last row, we're gonna have one additional row. That's what we will have, just to make them a little bit bigger. So you can repeat the process that you did with the arms until you get to the third row where you have the 3 single stitches and increase. You go all the way around and then I'll meet you there. Okay, so I made the same circle as I would make for arms. Now in the next row, instead of folding it and going half, I'm gonna do one extra row. So again, we'll increase by 6. So we will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then increase. So 2 into the same loop. Okay, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, and increase. So continue on like this until you get, so what is this? This is 36 stitches overall. Okay, so you will have 36, so it will be bigger than your arms when you're finished with it. Forgot to mention, make 2 of the legs. So what you're gonna do is finish this row and then fold in half and do the same as we did with the arms, stitch it all across. Okay, so I'll meet you once I finish this circle and then we'll discuss it. Bye. All right, so that's the 4 rows here. So what you need to do exactly the same as you did for the arm. So I'm just going to throw this thread over. Again, I finished with the slip stitch. And then we're going to just making sure that all of the loops. So see there, I'm gonna stitch the 2 sides together. So because you have 36 stitches this time, there should be approximately 18 stitches. And we're gonna do exactly the same as we did for the arms. We're gonna take the thread that we're gonna finish with and just transfer it to the other side for one of the legs. So as I said, I just like to do one at the very end to kind of close it all up with a slip stitch. Oh yeah, you will notice that I also cut the plush yarn at the very end instead of pulling it through and then cutting it on the inside. I just like to leave the clean ends on the other thread, on the working thread. So this is our 2 legs. Okay, so we need to transfer. Yeah, so you can see the difference, right? This is where we've stitched and this is more flat, so that's why we need to transfer the thread. Okay, so the legs are noticeably bigger than the arms. There's your extra row right there. So you just need to be careful to keep your arms away from your legs, because so many times I have actually crocheted in a leg and an arm instead of in the arm spaces, and vice versa, instead of 2 arms or 2 legs. All right, so I'm just gonna take this one now and just move the thread across. Okay, so I have my thread. Again, I'm gonna go from the side. And then just, again, making sure that I don't go through. Again, just go 1 here. And then just making sure that I don't disturb other stitches. Okay, so both sides are okay. Now both sides will be pointing in the right direction. So the rim is here and here, and this side doesn't have the rim. So again, it depends on, what I prefer doing is the arms will go in this direction. Okay, and then the legs can go in the other. But anyways, we'll decide this later. So here's the legs, the two legs. I have two arms. Oops. I have two arms, two legs. Now what I need to make is a small tail, and then I'm going to make a head from the same thread. All right, so next thing we're gonna start is the tail. So what I want to do is I want to have a tail kind of a V shape. So I'm going to start with, I think maybe 4 single stitches in the magic loop. So 4, we'll do 4. Now this doesn't need to be big, so just close the magic ring. So you can see that the tail is going to be starting quite sharply. She's going. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is, instead of increasing, I'm going to just do 1 single stitch and increase pattern, 1 single stitch. Oops. So that's into this. And then increase. Okay. And then finish the loop. I know this doesn't look much, but all I did is first row was 4 stitches, and second row was 1 single stitch and then 1 increase. Okay. So now I might do 1 circle without any increases. So just 1 single stitch across. If I can find them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I don't. Okay, let me just finish this row. Oh, there we go. Okay, the one thing I don't like about this is this. Sometimes this happens where your first stitch was not tight enough. So what I usually do is I just go in wherever it is. Just make sure you get in the proper, and I just hide it. It typically does stay there, especially if you tighten. Okay. So it's starting to look like a little tail. Now you don't want to make it too big, obviously, but not too small that you can't crochet it in. So I'm going to increase it again. So again, I will do, I think, just two and increase, two single stitches and increase. Okay. Okay, let's just see this. So here's our little tail. It's starting to look quite good. Might just do single stitches again all around for the next row. Okay, I think that's enough. So I'm just going to remove this and I'm going to put the thread inside just to bulk it up a little bit. You don't need to stuff any of this. I mean, the arms, the legs, and the tail, they absolutely do not need stuffing because they're fluffy as it is. So I'm just going to crochet these two parts together. What this also does is it makes sure that if you're crocheting parts in, they stay nice and flat, and you can kind of use that as a guide for yourself. Okay. Okay. So here's a little tail. Just tighten that. Okay. So next we will be doing the head. Okay, so we are going to start the head now. I don't know if it's too dark for you. Don't know. Anyways, I'm trying to make as much light as possible here. It is evening time now. So what I'm going to do is same as the arms and legs. I'm going to put 6 single stitches into the magic ring. Okay. Now, this is the stitch that typically gives you trouble if it appears. See, it kind of sticks out. I don't know why it does that. But anyways, I'll just move it back. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna do 2 into each stitch around, so you are gonna end up with 12. So if you're designing the teddies yourself, I mean, the main thing is proportions, right? So you have your arms, you have your legs, okay? So you need to think about, well, if my arms and legs are this big, right? So the arms are going to be here. How big does my head have to be? You know? So it has to be quite big, not small like this. So the next row, I'm going to do the increase. So 1 stitch and 1 increase all around. I must have missed a stitch somewhere. Let's see, 1. Must have been here. I think I did 2 doubles there. So I'm just gonna finish here for now. I don't like to let the velvet yarn out because it just doesn't look right. Doesn't look, it loses its plush. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, next row we're gonna increase by 2. So here we'll find out exactly how much I messed up. So we have 2 single stitches and increase. Okay. Okay, so I did miscalculate 1. So I'm gonna do just 2 here and then 2 for the next one just to make up the stitches. Because there's no point in doing something different. Okay, so that's gonna be the head. Again, you can kind of say, okay, well, I think this is big enough now. So next, what I do is I'll stitch a couple of rows, just single stitch all around. So I'll let you know how many. All right, so this is my box of my little trinkets. So I have finished the 3 rows. You can see them here. So this essentially will be your face, okay, of the turtle. So you want to put eyes in. So that's why I have the box here. I want to do quite big eyes, so that's why I'm going to see what size. I don't know yet which size, but you can see what I have here. I have other boxes which with smaller eyes, but I think this box will be more appropriate. Okay, so I have our standard eyes, just I think 12 millimeter, which might be okay. Well, they're cute. I have the a little bit bigger eyes, which come with like inserts. I think that will be even cuter. So that's bigger. I have this 12 millimeter. I think they're too small. I think I'll go for this, or this are way too big. I have these ones. They are cute, but I think not for this toy. They're the noses. And I don't think I want to be putting in snake eyes for kids. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 2 of these ones. Okay, they're different sizes. Which ones? Let's just insert them and see. I'm actually going to go for a bigger one. Okay. I think they're the same size. And there's a green one. Okay, there's another one. Okay. I guess they will be green. Because that's the first one I could find. So you just add this little insert and you can see how sparkly they are. Can you see that? So they're going to be the eyes I'm going to add. Okay, for safety for these ones, I think they're big ones, so I have to use this little backings. Little, they're massive anyways. Yeah, they're the ones. All right, so I have my eyes, I have my head, so let's go ahead. Oops, sorry. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to first of all figure out where is going to be my top, where is going to be my bottom. I think I'm going to put this little thread that's sticking out. I'm going to pull it back in. I'm going to put that at the bottom. And I'm going to have the eyes here. So I'm just going to put them in and see how I feel about the distance. They have to be approximately the same kind of. I think that's actually quite cute. Will I do them a bit lower? A bit crooked. Okay. Maybe a little bit wider. So you have to remember that that's the center, right? So you need to do I want them to be kind of on the sides? Yeah, I think that's nice here. Oh, you don't see this. Okay. So I like to trial and error. So this is the middle of the turtle. So if you can imagine, this is going to be the head of the turtle and the body is going to be here. So it's nice to have the eyes kind of sticking out a bit. So I think I'm happy with this. So in reality, I'm only one above the center. In here, and 1, 2, 3, 3 rows on either side. So 6 rows. Okay, so I'm just going to put in the backing. You have to make sure that it clicks because this is for kids. And in some cases you can also burn this, and I might just do that as well. Okay. I think that's secure enough. But I might just give this because it is for 7-year-old. So I don't want this to be... It's almost there. I might just see if I can use a tool. Just a second. Okay, I actually have these tools. I don't know this one. No, that's too small. That's just right. Okay, that's actually 3 now, so that helped. Let's see if this one I can do the same. Perfect. Oh, they're cute. Look how they actually went in. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so this really worked really well. All right, so that's my kind of little face from the turtle. You can already see, like, this is gonna be a nose kind of thing. This, I might put a little mouth, and that's how it's gonna look. Precious. Okay, chat to you in a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna continue this head for another 3 rows with a single stitch in each stitch. So I'll meet you there. All right, so here's my 3. So there's a head. So what we're gonna do is we're going to make some reductions. So what I propose we do is, I think we finished on 2 single stitch and increase. So what we'll do is 2 single stitches and decrease. So 1, 2, and then we decrease. So what I do is I just take 2 front loops and I stitch them together. So 1, 2, and 1. Decrease. 1, 2, and decrease. 1, 2, and decrease. 1, 2, and decrease. 1, 2, and decrease. 1. Okay, so that's our okay. Now we don't want too big of a head, so I'm gonna do another decrease and then I'm gonna stitch it together. So because if you can imagine, well, we'll see. Maybe I'll do, yeah, we'll do another decrease anyway. So we'll do 1 and then decrease. 1, 1, and decrease. 1, and decrease. Have to be careful not to go through the same ones. 1, and decrease. 1, and decrease. 1, and decrease. Okay, All right, so what I'll do now is I'll just do single stitch all around for the next row. Actually, I'll finish with a single stitch instead. So slip stitch. Okay, so here's our head. So I'm gonna stuff it now, and then I'll sew the two sides together. Okay, so I have this polyester filling. It's Prim. I've had it for a while now. I actually don't know if this is the one that my sister gave me some time ago. She brought it back. So you just want to make sure to stuff it quite tightly, because otherwise the head is going to be just too soft, kind of droopy, which you don't want. So I'm just gonna, I know this is not very technical, but anyways, that's how I do it. I just make sure that it goes around the eyes and that the eyes are okay, you know, and then just make sure it covers everything. And you can see that that's a lot of stuffing just for the head, but I just want to make sure that it stays quite round, and after washing they tend to kind of compact, or after, you know, the child has played a lot with them. As my son says, they get very soft. He loves that though, so that's a plus for him. But I don't know if all kids like that. So I just try and make sure that everything is as stuffed as possible. Actually, I need to buy more stuffing if I'm going to be doing body for this as well. Okay, I think this is sufficient. So you can see that the head is kind of, I'm making it kind of shaped like this because turtles' heads are not perfectly round. Yeah, so that's the way that I intend for it to be. So you can see that the stitch is not perfectly on the side. So what I need to do is actually to bring it to the side. So how I do that, I just determine what stitch it is. So I need to go to the third stitch. I need to continue single stitching to the third stitch. So I'm going to do that. Okay, now let's see. So if I use this stitch, is this gonna give us, yeah, so I can single stitch all across. Okay, sorry, thread got caught. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in same as before, just two sides together. I'm just, you know, for people, some people prefer to sew the parts on. I think it's much neater if the parts are crocheted in. Sorry, I'm just having trouble getting this loop through. Okay. So because of that, I try and close all of my heads. Like you could continue on, you could make a body around it. But I like to have a little kind of the body to start over the head. So because of that, I make the head like this, and I just leave enough to be able to crochet the head in. Okay? All right, so same as before, we'll just leave the thread just in case I do want to stitch for now. But, and again, those who do prefer stitching, that's the head. I might leave the mouth out. I think it looks cute as it is. So now we're gonna start working on the body. I think it looks very cute already with its green eyes. Can you see how shiny they are? So we are going to do that next. So we have our tail, we have our arms, we have our legs. So this is already the only thing we have left is the body itself. So for my turtle, I'm actually going to be using this thread because it's for a boy, and I think it's when you have a patterned shell on a turtle, it's going to look nice. The body of the turtle underneath the shell is going to be the same color as your arms, so keep that thread. Hopefully you have enough. I still have loads, so but we're going to start with the shell first. It has to be big enough, obviously, for the head. And you can make it either tall or you can make it kind of wide. So it's up to yourselves what you want to do. But for my pattern, if you follow along, you'll get the same. Okay. Okay. So this is my color for the top. So I am going to start with the magic ring. Once I find my hook. I think it's approximately the same thickness as the other yarn. Maybe a little bit thinner. But I'll try with the 5, and then if I don't like it, I might change it to 4 for this yarn. Again, just depending on your yarn, figure out what hook size you need. I haven't retained the label for this yarn, so I don't actually know what's the recommended, but from recommended, I would go down 1 for yourselves. Okay, so let's do just magic loop, a magic ring. Again, 6 single stitches into the magic ring. Okay. No, I don't think this yarn will be as easy to actually close the loop, but we'll try. No, it's fine. Okay, so 6 for the first row. Okay, you can see that it's quite colorful once you finished with it. Okay, I need my little marker. Okay, okay, so second row is going to be increase in every of the stitches. If you hear my son in the background, he's playing with his kids, with his friends from school. Okay. No, that wasn't into both loops. Just make sure that's into both loops so it looks seamless. Okay, let me just check that there are no gaps. No, I think this will be fine. So number 5 is fine for this yarn as well. Okay, so that's our first row. Second row, we're going to continue with 1 stitch and then increase all around. So 1 stitch and then increase. Increase one stitch and increase, and last one stitch and increase. I hope I have enough stuffing. If not, I'll have to buy some. This year I am going to be using up everything I have for crafts. I have quite a lot. I have a lot of yarn, a cupboard full of yarn. I have a lot of materials like for sewing. I have a lot of clay. I have a lot of Cricut stuff. I have a lot of sublimation, blanks and stuff like that. So my decision for this year will be not to buy any more of the craft stuff unless somebody gives them to me. For myself, actually not to spend any money unless I absolutely need it. Like, for example, if I am using up this yarn to make like turtles and the stuffing is gone, all of it, then I will go and buy some of that. But again, very minimum. Like at the moment, what I'm thinking about is at the moment here, I'm using my phone so you guys can see what I'm doing. But I saw a video where one of the YouTubers was actually showing how she does demonstrations for her, for people who make. So she's kind of she's expanded. So she actually she prepares the design and then she asks other people. She employs other people after other crafters to actually make it for her for to sell. So she has this camera that's like presentation camera. The camera that I have is literally a stand, and then I got myself a ring. So, but maybe if my business takes off a little bit, at least I can save up from the business. First of all, I want to use the money for the renovation of the house because we have quite a lot of bills coming up, as I mentioned. But second of all, I don't want to be spending my money that I earn from my main job on my craft. I want my craft to be able to fund my craft, if you know what I mean. So yes, that's kind of the goal for this year. A little bit of diversion from our pattern. So the next row we're gonna do 2 single stitches and then increase. One, two, and increase. Again, you're trying to make this, if you are adjusting this, to be big enough to fit this hat. So you can imagine how big this has to be. So we're gonna just continue in the circles. I don't remember what I did here. I'm just gonna go back to the 2. So there was 2 here, I'd say. Was there? No. Oh, I'll just go back to the start. So yeah, that's the other thing. You need to keep your mind on what you're doing. So yeah, so as I was saying, if you're making this yourself and you don't like, if let's say your yarn is less thick than mine or is more thick than mine, you can adjust it so that it actually fits your body. But what you're doing is you're increasing each circle until you get to the size that you need. You're increasing each circles by 6. So every single circle will be increased by 6. Okay, so let's do this. So 2, 1, 2, and then increase. 1, 2. Again, 1, 2, and increase. 1, 2, and then increase. and 1, 2, and then increase, and then 1, 2, and increase. Did I mess up somewhere? Probably did. Where did I mess up? I need to do 1, 2, and then increase here. So I'll just do that. It is quite forgiving. Hopefully it worked out well for you for this round. But if you missed a stitch somewhere, and it's easy to do, especially when you're putting increases on, then just increase at the very back, at the very start. It's all gonna look fine once it's finished. It's quite forgiving. Okay, so next row we're gonna do again increase by 6. So we're gonna do 3 single stitches and increase. So 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, oops. 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2, 3, and increase. Oops. Increase. And 1, 2, 3, and increase. Okay, so the next row will continue increasing by 6, so 4 single stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and increase. And continue with this pattern until the very end. So I'll meet you there. Okay, so that's our 4th. So you can see it's still small. So we're gonna do next round 5 single stitches and then increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase. Oops. Increase. And then you continue all the way around in the same pattern until the very end, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so I finished this round. I think it's still too big. The head is still, too small. The head is still too big, so I'll keep going. I'm going to go 6 single stitches increase now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and increase. Okay, continue like this and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so that's this round. Again, I'm just checking. It's getting there, but not yet. So I'm gonna continue with 7 stitches and increase for this round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and increase into the same stitch. Okay, continue like this all around, same pattern, 7 single stitches and then increase, and I'll meet you at the very end. Okay, so that's 7 stitches, single stitches and increase. You can see that it's getting there, but still not yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the next round, which is 8 single stitches and increase, and another round which is 9 single stitches and increase, pattern all around, and then I'll meet you there. Okay, so let me just start this. So what I mean is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and increase. And then all the way around like this, and then same as this, but with 9 single stitches and then increase. Single stitches and increase. Okay, 9 and increase. And I'll meet you at the end. Okay, this is how big it is. So I actually think I'll do one more round, which will be 10 single stitches and increase. And then I can just finish with the rounding. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and increase. Okay, I'll go all the way around and I'll meet you at the end. Now I'm going to go all around 3 rows single stitches. So in each of the stitch, single stitch. So that's the as big as I need it to be. Okay. So that's 3 rounds done. So what I do next is there's 2 ways. You can count the stitches and figure out where to put your head and tail, arms and legs. What I do is, this is where I finished the round. I put it in the middle. So my head is going to go here and my tail is going to go here. So I get a marker for the head. Okay. Let's get a couple more markers. So this is going to be the tail. Okay. So then I am going to have the legs. You don't have to use these markers, you can just use threads. So I'm gonna go do the legs here. And I just fold it up so I get the same size or the same kind of side where the legs are, and then I'll do the arms. I'll do them here, just a little bit away from the head. So you will have to have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the head, and then your arms are gonna go in here. Okay, and then opposite one again. So you have the markers now for your head, for your legs. They're gonna start here and finish here. They're gonna finish here. And I think this one is not correct. Let me just double check this. So these are okay. I think this one is too low. See? Yeah. Right. So again, just figure out which ones are your arms. So they're the smaller ones. So we'll take the first arm. So the first arm is gonna go here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just use 3 stitches to add it on. Okay, so I'm not actually gonna need this tail.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna I might just leave them, and I'll show you why. So this is gonna be the third. So I actually need to do 2 more stitches in here. But what I'm gonna be doing now is I'll do 2 stitches, normal stitches, but then the rest of it I'm actually gonna do only back loops. Okay, so let's just do 2 stitches. Okay, now I will be only working with the back loops, okay, and I'm gonna be finishing on this marker with the 3 stitches. So wherever the thread is, I'm actually gonna put them like this so that it's like flippers, they're flipping, if you know what I mean. So just go in the back loop. So for this, you actually want to do it by placing this here, so that when you're finished, it's going to be there, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to go through there, and you just want to take the back loop. So 1, I'm going to go in the middle here. Again, make sure it's just the back loop. Make sure it's just the back loop. 2 and 3. Okay, I might actually do 1 more just to make sure that it's secure. Okay, so you can see that it's gonna be here, and I still have 1 stitch here, and you'll need that later on. Okay, so now I'm gonna continue with the back loops. Now you wanna leave, so there is 8 single stitches here. Let me just remove this. There's 8 stitches here, so you're going to be doing it in the middle here. So you just need 8 stitches from this marker. So we'll say that this is the middle marker, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So just crochet up to this space here. Sometimes it's not as easy to do this in the back loops, but just I'm sure you'll find your way of figuring this one out. So I'm going to this blue stitch here. You can mark the stitch that you want to go to as well. It's up to yourselves. Okay, so this is gonna be actually my stitch for the head. So again, I'm gonna leave the thread here and I'll show you why later on. I'm just gonna put the head on top, same as, just make sure that when you flip it, that's your face is gonna be how you envision it, that way. So it's gonna be this way, so I need to flip it. So it's gonna be looking like this. So I'm gonna flip it like this. Okay, so what I do here is I go through the first stitch. This is my first stitch, yeah. And I'm just going through the back loop again. Second stitch. Back loop, third stitch, and so on until you have the whole head. You can remove this marker now. As I said, I don't like sewing things on. I like crocheting things on, but you are welcome to sew the head on at this stage. Okay, and I'll do one more just for security more so than anything. Most patterns actually ask you to sew the head on. As I said, I just don't like doing that. So, and you'll see it will turn out just as well. Okay, so the next, you'll continue with the back loops up until your marker, and then you'll sew on your leg. Oh, your arm, sorry, your arm. Same way through the 3 stitches. I'm just gonna actually just see that I have it correctly marked. That's my tail. Yeah. Okay. So I'll continue up until just in back loops. Okay, so now I got into my stitch marker. So I'm going to take my arm, and again I'll do the same. Just imagine that so it's gonna go like this, so I'm gonna flip it up and crochet through it. So there's gonna be 3 and into, I don't know if you can see this, into the back loop here. Okay, and then crochet through. 1 second, back loop, and third, back loop. Okay, that's gonna be, so now we're gonna go, the leg is gonna finish at this marker. So this is gonna be 4. The leg is gonna be 4. So what I'm gonna do is 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I need to go to this blue one in back loops. Need to move this. All of this, we're gonna tie them inside so that nothing actually breaks off. So we're just going to the 4 stitches from the marker. So to the blue one here. This yarn, it's a little bit difficult to find the back loops. Okay, so this is our 4th loop. So we're gonna get a leg. Again, just remember, imagine how it's gonna be. So I like to do the one with the edge. So I'm gonna put this down and I'm gonna go through 4 here. So I'm gonna go at this side, kind of not the very end, but you know, a bit in where there's 4 stitches. That's 1. Two. 3. 4. All right, so that's gonna be that. You can see that there is a little bit in between, but if you make it tight enough, it should be fine. Okay, so the tail is 4. So from this stitch, we need to leave, let's say this is our middle. So we're gonna do 1, 2 to the blue and 1, 2 here to the yellow. So we're gonna go to this yellow here in the back loops now. If we can. Sometimes it helps to kind of lift to see where the stitch is. Okay, now we're gonna take the tail. Hopefully it will open for you. Okay, again, same thing. So just pick the side that is gonna be nicer. Okay, so the tail is gonna be here. So we're gonna just stitch it together. It's easier to do when they're flat. we go through this, and then the back loops. The blue stitch, yellow, blue, and yellow. Okay, that's gonna be our tail. And remember, we're gonna have the paw is the back leg is gonna start here. So we're gonna just go to that stitch marker in the back loops. Okay, now the leg. So again, imagine that that's gonna be your leg. So the direction is this. And then we have to go through 4 for this one. So this is the first one. Sorry, I just need to see where the stitch is here. So that's the stitch. This is the one I'm going in. One. Again, let's do somewhere in the middle here. 2. In the middle. 3. Again, in the middle. Okay. All right, so that's your paw here. You can see that it's quite nice and tight. It's not gonna go anywhere. Okay. Now I'm just gonna go into the back loop up until this point where we started. Okay, here I just went into this loop. Okay, so I'm just gonna put the marker into here, and I know there's a lot of messy threads here, so we're gonna clean them up now. All right. So here's your shell of a turtle with a lot of messy threads. So what I like to do, and I know a lot of people do that, is I actually like to tie this together. So I would tie, let's say, the tail and the head. Now leave it quite loose. Don't tighten it too much, otherwise it will distort when you're trying to stuff it. So you have to leave it quite loose, like, so it's not actually just distorting your turtle at the end, but at least it will be secure kind of extra security for your head and your tail. You know, that they won't tear apart easily, and if they do, they'll still be hiding. Okay, so that's the first thread. Now I like to do the arms together. Again, do them quite loose. Okay. That's that, and then we're gonna do the legs as well. Again, I'm not gonna make them very tight. Just kind of double security. So you have the other option of not having the threads like this. I wasn't sure if I'm gonna be sewing them on or not, so that's why I left them there. The other thing you can do is you can tie this one if you wanted to, but I'll just cut this one. Okay, so you have two options now of what to do. You can continue your body now, meaning the actual gray yarn, or you can continue with this thread and making your skirt. I prefer to continue with the body and then making a skirt later on. And yes, it's gonna mean that I'll have to tie this knot, but it just works better for me. Okay, I was just taking notes of what I did there for my pattern. Okay, so as I said, I'm actually gonna continue, instead of continuing with the same thread, I'm gonna do the body, which is gonna be the same color as my head. So I'm gonna change the yarn. So the way that I change the yarn typically is I go into the two loops where my hoop is in. Can you see that? Then I'm gonna take this yarn that I'm gonna change to, pull it through. Okay, so I still have that second, and I'm gonna just tighten that second one. And I am going to tie a knot with the original yarn and this new yarn, and I'm gonna cut it, trim it. Okay, so very simple. Okay, so this is gonna be the start of our round. So now you have a row here that you were crocheting into the back loop, so you still have this front loop and you'll need it for later on, but for now you will be working with these stitches here. Okay, so we're gonna do 10 stitches, 10 single stitches and decrease. So essentially we're just going back to what we were previously. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to decrease, so just in front loop if you can, 1, and then the front loop 2. Okay, and then we're going to do 10, 1, 2, and continue like this, so all around. Okay, so I went all around, so 10 single stitches and decrease, and you can see that that's going to be the start of my body. Okay, so the next row is going to be 9 single stitches and decrease, and these are full stitches into full stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My son is looking for me. Okay, 1 and 2, and then decrease. Continue like this, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, we're gonna do now 8 single stitches decrease. This is what it looks like at the end of it. You can see it's closing down there, the loop. Sorry, the dog was barking. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, by the way, for my crocheting, I only crochet in the spaces where my dog is not in, just in case the kids have an allergy. So she's not allowed upstairs, so she doesn't go upstairs. She's very good that way. And she's not allowed, let's say, in dining room. So if I do crochet, I crochet there. She's also non-shedding dog, so like we were thinking that our kids were allergic to the dog fur. So when we were getting her, we actually got non-shedding. She's a miniature schnauzer. So I'm very conscious that kids might have allergies, so I try and minimize the exposure, even though she is non-shedding and everything else, but just in case for the toys that I make. Okay, I'll continue 8 decrease all the way around, and I'll meet you there. Okay, you can see that it's starting to close nicely in here. So we're gonna do now 7 and decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then decrease. So just the front 2 loops, stitch together. Okay, go all the way around, and I'll meet you at the very end. Okay, the next row we're gonna do is 6 single stitches and decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and decrease. So 1, 2, together. Okay, go all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so the next row we're gonna do 5 and decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then decrease. So 1, 2, together. Continue like this, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so we finished this row. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna stuff this. I want to see, this head is a bit too heavy, So I might need to just sew it in place, which I think I'll just do it anyways, just to for my own peace of mind. So what I'm gonna be doing is, okay, apologies, my son started shouting. So all excited about PS6, whenever that will be coming out. So what I do is I just get a thread. Again, you might not need to if you actually crochet deep enough. I didn't, so I'm just gonna fix this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into this row here. I'm gonna leave a tail, and I'm just gonna go straight in here. Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, so this is the one that I started. So I'm just gonna literally tie it really tightly together at the end here. Basically, all I'm doing is I want to make sure that the head is tight, or rather, it's not floppy. I'm sure nobody likes, you know, I'm not gonna say it. Okay, so again, I'm just going to go as close as I can to this side. And just sew this all together. Actually will work out nicely doing this. I'll do that one once more. Now, I am aware that I have a back loop here, but I think I should be able to fix it anyways, even if I sew through it. Okay. And one more. I have something exciting planned for 2 weeks' time for my husband's birthday. So I am looking forward to that. I have a very busy work. So all I did is I found the end, and I'm going to tie them again together just to make sure that everything is tight as possible. I'll do a triple knot here. Okay. No. Okay, I think that's better. I wasn't happy with how floppy the other head was, or the I don't know if that's the right word to use. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop with all the stuffing that I have most likely, and I will see if I need more, and just look through my cupboards to see whether I have more, and if I don't, I might need to purchase some. So it will be Amazon to the rescue if that's the case, because I cannot go out for the next couple of days because I'm working full time, and the only time I have is actually after hours. We might be okay. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it for now. I'll stuff it more, but you can see now that the head is not as bad as it was. So it is a little bit down, but the turtles are like that. So that's gonna be the body. And I'm gonna have a little lip going over here as well once we're finished with it. But for now, let's continue and finish this, and I will stuff it more just to make it a little bit more round. Okay, so we finished on, I don't know, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it 4 and a decrease? No, I think we're finished with 5 in decrease. We're gonna go to 4 in decrease now. So 3 and 4. Then we're gonna decrease and continue like this, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. I think I have enough stuffing in here. Just thinking the turtle's kind of flat at the bottom, so I think it should be okay like this. So I actually am lucky that I have enough stuffing for this toy. All right, so next we're gonna go 3 single stitches and decrease. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 and decrease. By the way, if you mess up the stitches, it's all okay. Just make sure that at the very end you just decrease. So even if it's like, let's say I actually messed up somewhere, but let's say you have like 3, like you have 2 and then 2 left, I would use those 2 to decrease at the very end, just to keep it consistent, so it's not lopsided at the end. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and decrease, and continue like this, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so that was 3 in decrease. Now we're gonna go to 2 in decrease. So 2 single stitches. And decrease. All the way around. One, 2, I'll continue like this and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so now the next row is 1 in decrease all the way around. One and decrease. Decrease. 1 and decrease. 1 and decrease. 1 and decrease. I told you I messed up, so I still have 1 remaining, which is fine at this. Oh, sorry. I told you that I messed up, so I'm actually gonna have just 1 stitch mess left here. Okay. All right, so then next stitch we're just gonna go decreases to close this circle down. So you just stitch the decreases together. At this stage it's very difficult to show you how to do this, but I hope you get the gist. Okay, this is going to be my last one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this out a bit. Okay. And the remaining stitches I'm just going to use a needle to actually go through them. Okay, so I'm gonna have these two together. These two together. I think that's enough. Maybe these two together as well. Now I'm just gonna go and pull it in. So you can see that there's no gap remaining. And I'm gonna tie a knot here. A double knot. I like doing double knots just through. And then I'm gonna again hide this. And I'm gonna just pull it a bit, cut, and then I'll be able to hide it. Okay. So that's closed now. Ignore my son screaming. Again, ignore him screaming. Okay, so there's my turtle. Let me see if I can zoom out a bit. Okay. So what I need to do next is actually to put the turtles are not flat. They have, a lip here. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. So what I'm going to do is I am going to find, see that front stitch that runs all around. Okay. It's on the top. So the easiest spot to actually get it would be on top of your parts, because that's where you would have started. So I'm going to start here at the back. Right there. You see this? That's your front loop that you've started with. Okay, and we're just gonna make single stitch through that front loop. Okay, I'm actually gonna crochet through this. I'm gonna do another loop. No, I won't. I'll just continue, but I'll do 2 single stitches in each of those front loops. I'm gonna hide the tail. Can you see that? Okay. So we're just working through that remaining front loop that we had previously. Okay, so 2, so increases in every single of those front loop. Okay, and you can see what it does. It's actually forming that rim that you're looking for. Okay, you continue on and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I finished this round. You can see, sorry, that was just my marker to mark where I left off. So it's the next day. I had to leave this till today. So you can see that there is a small skirt already here. So from here you can see it more clearly. But I'm going to do a little bit more, meaning I'm going to do another one, another round of double all around. It's going to make it a little bit frilly, but I like that. So yeah, let's do that. That's where I ended off. So in each of the crocheted single stitches, we're gonna put in increase. Okay, so you can see that it's going to be a little bit bigger. Let's do a couple more so you can see it a little bit more clearly. All right. So it's going to be like this. So this was before. You can see it's quite small. And then this is going to be the new one. Okay. All right. Continue like this all around, and then we'll meet you at the very end. Okay, so I finished the round and I tied off the ends. So you can see here, that's the skirt. It looks really nice. It's very evident that this is a turtle. And I like how freely it is. So let me just see if I can zoom out a bit. You'll see the stand, but anyways. So you can see the frills here. All right, so the turtle itself is ready. So it's now up to yourselves whether you want to add a little mouth here. I might just do it because knowing a 7-year-old, he'll want a smiley turtle. So you can come along with me for that. Okay, so what I have is this thread. I usually use these threads for the mouth. So this is 760 number of the color. So I'm just going to take a bit out. Okay, let's just zoom out a bit so you can see. Okay, I'll just use a normal needle. Nothing special about it. Okay. So I think it would look nice if I put the mouth here. From here to approximately here. So the way that I do it, I'll actually go in from this side and come out where I want it to start. So this is not, I'm not going to have that visible later on. So this is going to be where it's going to start. Leave a bit of thread there. Okay, so just to have it, it's in line with the eyes here, so it needs to finish in line with the eyes there. So I'm just gonna go, need to make sure that I don't go over it, otherwise it will be crooked. So approximately to here. So I'm just gonna do small stitches. Need to be careful so it doesn't actually look crooked. Okay. And I'm going back. I left some gaps, so I'm just gonna go back, fill in those gaps. Did that disappear? Okay. See, that's crooked, but it's okay. So Oh, is it okay? That will be okay, I think. So I'll show you why it's okay. So I'm gonna go under this. Can you see? Under the first stitch. And I'm gonna do kind of over it, under the next stitch. Over it, under the next stitch. And again under the next stitch. Okay, and then I'm just gonna finish this and go back to the very start and do it again. And that is just to make it more smooth. So now I'm gonna go under it. Under it. Under it. And what's the weather like for yourselves? In Ireland, it's very rainy at the moment. See, I don't like how this looks particularly, but it should be okay once I finish it. Just gonna go back now over, over. And over. Okay, that just doesn't look bad, does it? I think that's okay. You know what? I don't actually. Maybe I should have put it a little bit. What do you think? Trying to see it here from the side. I'll do one. I do. That. Okay. Now I'm gonna leave it as is. I think that's fine. You can see that it is quite thick, but I think it will be nice once you can't see it really until you lift it. And it is a little smile, so that will do. You can make it a little bit wider. Maybe that's would have fixed it a little bit. I just don't like mouths on turtles, but it is for 7-year-old, as I said. All right, so all I do is I bring the thread back and then I just tie it here. Double knot or even triple knot, whatever you decide to do. I'll do triple knot just to make sure. Okay. And then I just cut it here. Okay. And then I get a smaller hook than the one I was using. And I'll just pull this through. Okay. So now you don't have any threads visible. Okay. And you have a mouth. No. Again, it's up to yourselves whether you want it or not. All I can say is it's extremely soft. It's I think a 7-year-old would love this. So if you like it and you would like to make it using my pattern, I will have this pattern for sale as well. Just something small, a couple of euro. But so you can purchase it if you want step-by-step guide. But you have this video of something and you can just follow this. And if you are following this, please subscribe to my channel, and please give me thumbs up if you like the content, which will mean that I can make more of my crochet creations, more masterclasses for them. And if you do like my creations themselves and you would like to purchase one, please check out my Shopify or my Shop in Ireland links. I have earrings at the moment on my Shopify, but I will be transferring everything to my Shopify, so T Creative Sphere. So please see if you would like to purchase anything. It would really mean a lot. As I said, I am trying to fund the renovation of my house. At the moment it's raining, so I'm actually need to go down and check whether my roof is leaking. So yeah, it would mean a world to have all of your support, and I'm looking forward to seeing your comments of what you think. This is my first video actually making things. I know I don't have optimal lighting. I am trying to find a better spot for filming. So hopefully in future you will have that. But I hope you enjoy this. Okay, bye everyone.